Welcome to the Old Man of the Three with JJ Redick and Tommy Alter, brought to you by 342 Productions. This is episode 205. Alperen Şengün. Şengun, Tommy, is a star in the NBA, and I don't want to I'm going to put this out there. We did an episode early in the season, before the regular season started. We said, who are the breakout stars, potential breakout stars in the NBA this year? And Şengun was one of my guys.
I think he's one of your man crushes.
He's awesome. He's awesome. This guy's averaging 22 points, 9.2 rebounds, 5 assists. He's 13 in box plus minus, 18th in win shares in the entire NBA, 13th in value over replacement player. He's having, he's having an all-star level season. I'm not saying he's going to make the all-star game. Houston has dropped a little bit in the standings as of late, but he's been a big reason why the Houston Rockets have played highly competitive basketball. We get into a ton of stuff with him. We talk about Ime Udoka, the additions of Jeff Green and Fred VanVleet, Dillon Brooks. He's got a fascinating background. And look, I think a big takeaway I've had from a number of young players we've done recently is the league is in great hands. I mean, we had the Franz Wagner on. We've got another young guy coming on next week who's an all-star. These guys are just wired the right way. And you think about, I mentioned those advanced stats. You think about, who has carried the league for the better part of a decade. These guys, they're still playing at a high level. The LeBrons, the Kevins, the Steph Currys, they're still playing at a high level. We've got guys like Jokic and Embiid and Giannis in the prime of their careers that are going to continue to carry the mantle for a number of years. But these up-and-comers, I have been so impressed every time I've sat down to sit with these guys and speak with them. They're just awesome. They're awesome dudes. They're wired the right way, and they're incredible basketball players who are only going to get better because they're wired the right way.
My favorite Şengun stat, complete list of players to average 22, 9, and 5 before the age of 22. Oscar Robertson, Luka, and our guest today. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. I'm not surprised by that at all. I think you guys will really enjoy this conversation. We also are going to have a check-in with our new correspondent, OM3 correspondent. We're bringing those back. We'll have a number of guys checking in throughout the regular season and postseason. And our first correspondent visit will be from Trey Murphy of the New Orleans Pelicans, one of the all-time guests, I think, going back to last year. Just an incredible asshole. Love him dearly. Love him dearly. Can't wait for you guys to hear our little check-in with him. All things Pelicans. A lot of fun stuff with him. Before we do that, let's get to our DraftKings Sportsbook segment. And of course, we are going to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks, who fired Adrian Griffin. Can't say I was surprised, Tommy.
No. What, so the Bucks are currently second in offensive rating. They're 21st in defense, 10th in net. They were 4th in defense last year. Do you think that is the primary reason for the switch, or is there more at play?
Well, first of all, I would say this. Early in the season, I had a game, first in-season tournament game, Knicks at Bucks. So doing my prep work, I'm watching film, going through games, and it was striking to me, literally striking. I remember just pausing it so many times and wanting to punch my laptop at their defensive schemes. They finally it was the first game that they put Lopez back in a drop, but they finally got Lopez back in a drop. I don't want to speculate here. I just can tell you from what I know. The players never felt comfortable with the schemes. And it wasn't just defensively. I think offensively, they still haven't maximized what they can be. And I think there was a level of frustration with the players. We know that. Like, we talked to enough people around the league. There was a level of frustration. What's interesting to me, the Bucks, of course, have a 69.8 win percentage. This is the third highest win percentage at the time of a midseason head coaching change in NBA history. The 2015-2016 Cavaliers fired David Blatt. They had a 73.2 win percentage. And the 1979-1980 Lakers with Jack McKinney had a 71.4 win percentage. Now, interestingly enough, McKinney was injured in a bicycling accident, which caused the change. Both those teams went on to win the NBA championship, the 2016 Cavaliers and the 1980 Los Angeles Lakers. This is a team that brought in Dame to win a championship. And so that is the expectation. And I get the feeling I get is certainly that they felt Adrian Griffin was not the right guy to help them win a championship this season.
Yeah, when you look at the way the East is loaded up with Boston, how they've played all year, and then Miami, and we'll get into the Miami moves this week as well. It just, in Philly, I mean, we certainly can't leave out Philly. With those four, it feels like they had to do this just to keep up.
Yeah, for sure. I want to talk about Miami in a second. You brought up some of the defensive stuff. And look, this is not all on him. There certainly has been some personnel changes. Jay Crowder's been out. The loss of Drew Holiday. Damian Lillard is not a great point of attack defender, let's be honest. But some of these numbers are striking. You brought up the defensive efficiency, 4th last year, 21st this year. Fast break points per game, 8th last year in the league, 23rd this year. Points per direct pick, any pick, 3rd last year, 25th this year. Points per direct drive. This is the striking one, considering they have Lopez and Giannis on their back line. 2nd in the league last year in points per direct drive, 20th this year. Why? They've got the 7th highest blow-by rate on drives this season. They gave up the lowest percentage last season. And this has been discussed, right? Adrian Griffin coming from Toronto. They've got the personnel to pressure the ball, create turnovers. The Bucks have had this scheme for damn near the whole season. Now, Lopez, of course, moved back into the drop like normal, but they've had this scheme for the whole season. There's been no improvement on creating turnovers. At some point, they've been terrible defensively this month. 125 points per game this month.
How much of this, though, I'm wondering whether there's going to be more corresponding moves off of this, is also just the personnel. When you look at, like you mentioned, Dame, but even guys like Campaign, Beasley had a great season, but like these are not defense first guards. Right. And so with who you're going to have to face in the Eastern Conference playoffs, you're going to need to beef that up a little bit. I know they don't have many assets to do that, but
well, I think I said this recently about the Celtics too. It's like the teams that are trying to win, they're always looking to improve their roster. The buyers are always looking to buy. I would expect every team, every front office to be on the phone, calling people, trying to figure out how do we fill out a roster. We've now got a large sample size, over half the season now. Teams know what they need. Teams know where their weaknesses are. The Milwaukee Bucks odds on DraftKings Sportsbook to win a championship. They opened at plus 650. They are currently at plus 475, third best. So despite these defensive struggles, their odds have improved. Conference, being the representative for the Eastern Conference, they opened at plus 250. They now are at plus 220, second best to the Boston Celtics. And Giannis, of course, having another MVP-like season. He's got the 5th best odds at plus 1,100. I want to talk briefly about the offense. It's interesting because, Dame hasn't shot the ball well. And he's also simultaneously been incredible in the clutch. And I saw this interesting thing on Twitter yesterday where it was like, yes, they have a 30-13 record, but if you kind of look at how they've won some of these games, it's been Dame in the clutch. They're 30-13. They basically are playing like a 26-17 team, like the New York Knicks, right? So I think we can all watch the game. It's not about the record. We can watch the game and say, oh, there's clearly some deficiencies there. I brought this up very early in the season when they were winning, and I said, look, they've had an easy schedule. They haven't had a true West Coast trip. That's not till right around this time, late in January, where they have a true West Coast trip. They've gone to Texas. They've had a couple games against Western Conference teams at home. They have not had the bulk, the meaty part, the tough part of their schedule yet. And you wonder like they struggled against the Pistons twice in the last week. It's like, was that the impetus for this? It seems the timing always seems weird with these things when they happen in season. But this seems particularly odd.
Yeah, the Cavs, even though Giannis wasn't playing, the Cavs game was another one like that. I mean, I was going to ask about the offense, where this, to err on the side of positivity for a second, where the uptick has come from besides the 3-point shooting. Giannis has the highest 2-point percentage in a 30-point per game season of anybody of all time right now at 64.2%. Is there other things offensively that you've seen that you feel like, Dame aside? I mean, I think we knew that the second the trade happened. Are there other things that we can look at and say, hey, if they can right this defense a little bit, if they can figure out some of these schemes. Okay, this is a team we can really talk about as a Boston threat, as a Philly threat, as a Miami threat.
Well, I think personnel wise, they have had a ton of success in any really type of pick and roll. So they run some inverted pick and rolls. Giannis is the ball handler. Sometimes he runs it with Brooks. Sometimes he gets a guard screen. Dame, of course, has been really good operating out of pick and rolls. Number one in the league in terms of points per possession, scoring as the pick and roll ball handler across everyone on their team. Right? Their ball handlers in pick and roll are scoring more per possession. That's Giannis. That's Dame. They have two of the best players, offensive players in the NBA. If they had a bad offense, I would be shocked, right? I still think the buy-in on the Dame Giannis two-man game at times has been a little clunky. I'd like to see more and more of that. Just spam the fuck out of that all day long. A lot of work to be done, I think, primarily on the defensive end. And then, of course, you start thinking about how are we going to score in the half court once the playoff starts. Those are the two concerns for me.
Yeah, I was going to say, before we move to Miami, I was just going to ask about playoff basketball and if that's a thing where when we're talking about this road trip, but also just like you need you need the defense to be tighter as we start to get post All-Star. And so if you're not showing improvement there, I mean, something had to be done.
Yeah, I know you wanted to talk about Terry Rozier as well.
Yeah.
Love that trade for Miami. He's had individually a fantastic season for the Charlotte Hornets. Really put up a ton of numbers when LaMelo Ball was out. He's a guy that can oscillate in and out of the starting lineup, and there's really no effect on kind of what he does as a player. And I think he'll be a good fit, and I think that culture will be great for him.
So he's shooting this year. He's shooting 48% on mid-range twos. He's shooting 39% on pull-up threes, 46% from the field, 36% from three. With him and Bam in particular, and maybe even him and Jaquez, are there things you feel like this is going to unlock for that offense, which has really been bad recently? It's amazing they've sort of won as much as they have with how bad it's been.
Again, this is a move. You're thinking playoffs, and I think shot creators in the half court in the playoffs are so valuable. Terry Rozier is one of those guys. And whether it is a two-man game, whether it is isolation, whether it is end of shot clock, right? Terry Rozier can get a shot. And you brought up the shooting numbers. He's shooting the shit out of the ball this year. I think this is a great pickup for the Miami Heat. The NBA season is in full swing. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app with code JJ. New customers can bet just $5 on the NBA and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code JJ. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/basketball for eligibility and deposit restriction, terms, and responsible gaming resources. All right, so we had originally recorded the intro on Wednesday morning at about 9 a.m. I then recorded some additional content for Islands in the League, our YouTube video series. As we were finishing up recording, news broke that Doc Rivers has reached an agreement to coach the Milwaukee Bucks. So I wanted to just have a little reaction to that. First of all, this is fucking insane what's happening. Like, it's insane. It's insane. It's insane. Adrian Griffin, we went over the numbers. Third winningest coach ever in terms of win percentage to be fired mid-season in NBA history. Other two teams, Lakers in 1980, Cavs in 16, go on to win a championship. Ultimately, that's why they're bringing Doc Rivers in. He did win a championship in 2008. And I want to be fair, and I want to be unprejudiced in sort of my assessment of this move for the Milwaukee Bucks. When you look at the landscape of sort of like who's available, who's had head coaching experience. We just brought in a rookie coach. It clearly was not working out. The players clearly were not responding to Adrian Griffin in a positive way. They're not going to then go hire an assistant coach, or they're not going to promote. This is a team that wants to win now. They want a proven coach. So in that sense, Doc Rivers to the Milwaukee Bucks makes a lot of sense. He makes a lot of sense, for sure. to a certain faction of people. To another faction of people, we can feel a certain way about him as a coach, about him since 2008 and what he's done. He's certainly won a lot of games, a lot of regular season games. I don't think Doc Rivers is the coach that would get this team to a championship. I don't think that. Maybe based on perimeter personnel, all of that thing, defensively, they're not going to get there this year. Maybe they add someone at the deadline. Maybe they add someone in buyout, which historically has not worked. Maybe they get there. I don't know. It's just fucking crazy. Let's get to our conversation with Alperen Şengün. This is for me. All right. But I was thinking about this morning because you were the class of 21 and I retired in 2021. What am I to you? Like, how do you know me? Do you know me as a player? Or do you know me as a talking head?
I know, of course, I know you. I mean, I'll be honest with you. When I was a kid, actually, when I started basketball, my first coach is Salim Tasla. Like, he was trying to teach me, like, basketball, and he was trying to teach me everything, like shooting and other things. And then, your shooting style is like so good. And like, whenever you shoot, like you shoot every time same style. He was always trying to teach me. He was like trying to show, like he was showing me your pictures when you like going to shoot. I swear, like, and
Seriously?
then like I swear, and like when he watched this, he's gonna remember for sure. And like he was showing me. I mean, like he's different. I was like 10 or something. Like he was showing me how you have to shoot every time same shot. Because like when I was shooting, like sometimes like going hands is different. All the time is like I was shooting different. He was just showing me your pictures. He was like saying, this is like amazing example for you. Just like, left-handed, right-handed, everything was like perfect. Like how they teaching you basketball when you start basketball,
It's with those better basketball videos, 2006, before your time.
Yeah,
before your time. Did you watch the NBA growing up?
No.
You didn't?
No, not at all. Actually, like, it's hard to watch. Like, you got to wake up 4 a.m., 5 a.m.
I thought you meant it's hard to watch, like the product is hard to watch. Not like the actual logistics.
It's a hard watch like that too. It's so long, you know?
Yeah. So what was like the basketball influence then for you?
I mean, when I grew up, I didn't think I'm going to go NBA actually, I couldn't imagine that, like where I grew up, it was just so small city. And like, where I grew up, there's not rich people, and I wasn't rich. I didn't grow up like rich too, and there's things you can imagine, like I'm going to go over there, I wasn't like thinking. And then when I went to a different city for just basketball, and then after some point you saying, of course, like, you're going to go. I mean, still not NBA until like 17, 18, I wasn't thinking NBA. But, I was dominating and other things when I was junior. But you still can imagine you go in NBA, And then after some point, of course, you realize you're going to go NBA. But
at some point.
Yeah, after some point.
When you're 18 years old.
Your
MVP
your
of the basketball
agent is
Super
telling
League
you
in
you're going to
Turkey.
go, yeah.
At that point, you're like, all right. I played with, I don't know, I wanted to ask you just about the sort of Turkish basketball culture. Because you guys, you've had a number of NBA players over this last generation. I played with Turk for a long time, both in Orlando and with the Clippers.
Yeah.
I played with Furk in Philly. I played with Ilyasova in Milwaukee and Philly. How much do you guys communicate with each other, like talk to each other, influence each other? I joke all the time about Duke, where I went to college. There's like the brotherhood of players, right? Some of it is just recruiting, but there's a real bond that all of us have, even though some of us didn't overlap in terms of teams or playing in the same generation. But because we all had that shared experience of Duke, we're all pretty tight.
Yeah. I mean, they, like you said, they're like up generation than us. Like we never played together. Like we never, like, I mean, when I was a kid, they were already in NBA, we didn't even know each other since like we started playing in the national team, so we didn't have like a relationship like that, but since I came NBA, of course, we talking, like when we see in the game, each other, we talking about everything. But other than that, there's nothing
So
special.
you don't know Hedo Turkoglu that well?
I know. Hedo is like my real, like...
That's your guy?
Yeah. Like, we talking after the game.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like...
Is he still a complete asshole?
No. I saw that interview. You saw that? Yeah. After that, you think
here's the thing.
Sure.
Here's the thing about that interview. He had some details that kind of ran together. The reality is, in this interview, he talks about getting kicked out of a practice because, he fucked me up. He fucked me up multiple times.
Yeah.
In different practices, in different seasons.
Yeah.
Even. And he didn't get kicked out of practice for elbowing me in the head on purpose. He got kicked out of practice because he undercut me on a fast break. And it was like the third time that season something like that had happened.
Oh, really?
And I love him.
He's not talking about that.
And I love him. That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
The NBA season is in full swing, and when I can't get enough of the action on the court, I spice things up betting on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official partner of the NBA. Right now, new customers bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. We've got a great slate of games this weekend, including the Miami Heat at the New York Knicks, two teams battling for Eastern Conference positioning, and LeBron James and the Lakers visiting Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. I'll have my eyes on both of these games this weekend. You can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app with code JJ. New customers can bet just $5 on the NBA and get $200 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code JJ. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/basketball for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. There's one thing that my life as a professional athlete has taught me. It's the importance of a good night's sleep, and my sleep has improved big time ever since we started using a Helix mattress. Everybody is unique and sleeps differently, which is why Helix has several different mattress models to choose from. We selected a Helix model with a more responsive foam that cradles the body for essential support in stomach and back sleeping positions, which is great for anyone struggling with back pain. Helix knows there's no better way to test out a new mattress than by sleeping on it in your own home. That's why they offer a 100-night trial and a 10 to 15-year warranty to try out your new Helix mattress. And right now, Helix is offering 20% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/JJ and use code HelixPartner20. That's HelixPartner20. This is their best offer yet, and it won't last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now. Again, that's Helix, HELIX, sleep.com/JJ. Use code HelixPartner20. You guys are coming in New York from Philadelphia, had a game last night. And I think it's interesting at your position right now in the NBA because there's a few players like yourself. And I want to ask you about the aspect of the 5-man hub in the modern NBA, but there's a few players like yourself where the offense really flows through the offense, or the ball flows through the 5-man. Jokic, Sabonis, Embiid last night, guarding him and the challenges of playing against him and not fouling, specifically not fouling. What's going through your head? I noticed, in watching the game and then watching some clips this morning, he's in his ISO. He likes the left-hand dribble, right?
Yeah.
And there are times where your hands are all the way back.
Yeah.
Is that on the scouting report? Are you thinking that while you're guarding him?
Yeah.
It seems like it would be impossible then to guard somebody.
I mean, yeah, it's really hard to guard him. And you just when he's dribble with the left hand, you just need to bother him a little bit. But if he sees the hands, you're going to take the foul. So, and if you're a main guy in your team, you want to stay in the court. You don't want to get cheap foul, And actually, I didn't foul him yesterday.
Yeah.
And he position, but he make all the mid-range shot, Like, I mean, he's a physical player, and in the same time, he can make all that shot, He make threes, he make like mid-range. I mean, all you can do just bother him and like, a little bit like, how I can say, like, fuck with him, his shot, like when he's going to hesitate and shot, All you can do, or like, if he's like attacking you, he's trying to take a foul, and you just need to be like chest to chest and like hope he gonna miss,
I think it's interesting though. It's like last night was a great example. There was a play, can't remember who had it, in the right sort of mid post, and he was on the right wing and he ran chase action like a guard.
Yeah.
And then shot a pull-up jumper from there. Then later, they said an inverted pick and roll on the right side with him.
Yeah.
And he went through, I think it was you on that play, and
Yes.
Fred went through both of you guys. No foul, but scored.
Yeah.
Jokic does that stuff with Murray a lot. It just seems like this has a big part of the evolution of basketball.
Yeah.
Is big guys who can serve and function as the hub of the offense and not just in the post.
Yeah.
Did you have that skill set before you came to the United States and the NBA? Is that something you developed at a young age? Is that a product of European basketball?
I mean, when I wasn't playing over there, in European, I was just finishing in
Just
the
dunking-
paint.
just
Yeah,
dunking on
dunking,
people.
paint. Like, I didn't have any mid-range shot. I didn't have any like 3-point shot. I wasn't doing that. I was doing good free throw. I was taking good fouls, because like it was, I'll be honest, like it was hard. I was like, so physical and like trying to take a foul when I was in Turkey too. And I was going to line a lot and they were like same position, like, how we guarding NBA right now, like I was trying to take a foul all the time. And like, because I was trying to go to paint all the time, like going to rim, trying to dunk, finishing inside, So that was like, I believe, and I'm still talking to some of my national team players, national team teammates, and then like we're still talking. It was like, I was trying to take a foul and then like finishing in the inside, and they were just scared to foul me and they want to stay in the game, So it was difficult, but I didn't have like I just know it. I'm gonna improve my some skills, and like get some mid-range shot, some 3-point shot, and I'm just working on it right now.
You're working on it right now.
I'm working all summer.
I think it's working right now.
Yeah.
I think it's working right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to toot my own horn here, but toot, motherfuckers. We did a show earlier this fall. I know you don't pay attention to this shit, but we did a show earlier this fall, and we did a show on 3 potential breakout stars.
Yeah.
And one of mine was you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because the jump from your rookie to your sophomore year, the way you finished last season, individually, was phenomenal. And I was like, this guy's a stud. And I said, the mini Jokic thing. I'm not the first person to say that.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not the last person. I also compared you. Sabonis is another great example of a 5-man hub, right,
Yeah.
in the modern NBA. Does the Jokic comparison, does that bother you?
I mean, no, not for now. Still young, but after some point, yeah.
Is it? Do you feel like it's a pretty big compliment? Like, does it mean something?
I mean, yeah, they mean like my game is similar to him.
Yeah.
Is it true though? We kind of play same game, and it was when they were telling me first time I came here. Yeah, it was sounds better, but getting like getting your own space now in NBA. On your spot. So of course, when he got retired or something, when he got old, and I'm gonna some age, I don't wanna people tell me like me baby Jokic,
Right.
Some point,
Right now
I
it's
had to, like,
fine.
yeah, right now
it's
I'm
fine.
like a baby, but like when I grow up, I don't want to hear that.
Do you get up like there was matchups when I played, right? Like where I knew going into a game, like I got to guard D
Yeah,
Wade
for
tonight, or Ginobili for me was like because he's just so smart and so competitive. I was like,
Yeah.
I got to be on my A game if I'm going against Manu. Are there matchups like that? Like with Jokic, are you more excited for that matchup, Sabonis, Embiid, like versus just a normal run of the mill 5 in the NBA?
I can just tell. Yeah, of course, always like exciting playing against these big players, but like I mean, when I go to court, this year especially, I improved myself. And like when I'm thinking, like I'm not thinking, I was thinking like how I'm gonna guard them, But now I'm thinking how they're gonna guard me, Like I wanna like be like
Cerebral thinker.
Yeah, thinker,
What's your advantage?
Yes. I don't want to think like how I'm going to guard or what I'm going to do. I don't want to go that position anymore. I improve myself in that. I'm going to say like, and I'm saying now how they're going to guard me, like Tigo helped me a lot on that because I was thinking, Tigo, I was thinking, it's a big game, Jokic, like it's a bonus, like Embiid, what I'm gonna do. Can you tell me? Like, I'm asking like what else, what I can do and can help me in the game. And then he was telling me, like Jokic is thinking right now. Like he thinks the same thing. Like, think that way. Just be like, unguardable over there and like you're gonna guard him, just be tough, like,
That's actually interesting.
Yeah.
One time in the middle of a game, I was playing, this was my 7th year. We're playing in Orlando against the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
And I was going at it with D-Wade. Like I had it going that night. I'm running around screens. I'm fucking chasing the ball. I'm cutting all that stuff. And he also had it going.
Yeah.
and we were at the free throw line and I said something. I was just like, man, I fucking hate guarding you. And he turned to me and he was like, you know what? I hate guarding you too.
Really?
And that was, for me, it was like, oh shit, yeah. All right, these guys got to chase me around. Like
of course.
It's
that
tough.
moment is like tough.
It's tough. Speaking of defense, Ime Udoka has I think just been one of the best stories in terms of coaching and helping revitalize the Houston Rockets right now. And he had some quotes because he was an assistant coach in Philly. So he had some quotes around your matchup with Embiid. But I actually thought this was really interesting. He said, when you've had losing early on, breaking those habits is something I'm constantly on him about, talking about you. He wants to be coached hard and he wants to be held accountable. And he's one of the guys that I'm hardest on.
Yeah.
What has Coach Udoka meant to you and to the Rockets in terms of changing the culture around winning and losing?
I mean, first 2 years, it wasn't great years for us. We learned a lot of things, but that was a thing, after some point, if you're losing every game, that's getting be habit, You go into the next game, you think you're gonna lose again,
That mentality creeps in.
Yes, of course. Like first 2 years, if you're losing every game, that happening, Like you go in next game and you're saying, even you up in third quarter, like all third quarter, fourth quarter, that was going crazy. Like we were losing fourth quarter, And after some point that, and I think he saw it, like we were getting, how I can say, like be like getting softer end of the game, But now he don't want that. Like he like all over us, like he always talking to us, Every like all game he talks, like he screams.
Do you feel like he's hard on you?
Yeah, but I love it.
You love it?
Yeah, I love it. I love it a lot. And
Why?
I mean, where I grew up, I mean, in Europe,
it's normal.
It's like, yeah, still Ime is so hard on me, but I can say there's nothing, Like, I mean, Ime is not cursing them. Like, I mean, he cursed, but not that bad, In Turkey, that was like bad voices, cursing, screaming, like.
That's every coach you played for in Turkey, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. When I was 18, I was already grew up, so I wasn't like, It
didn't affect you at that point.
Yeah, it didn't affect me at that point. But when I was kid, actually, it didn't affect me either. I saw a lot of things like, if you're like good player in your team, you have to take all that things and like all the coaches are coming at you, no matter what, you are a good boy.
So even when you were a kid,
yes,
and a teenager, you didn't take any of that personally.
No.
So Ime being hard on you is just like par for the course. It's normal.
Yes, actually, you know what? When I working out before the drafted, I was telling. Like I wasn't talking English that time. I had to like translate with
You had a translator with you for your workouts?
Yes.
That's amazing.
And when you're going to, after practice, you're going to meeting with all that GM coaches, And then I was saying all the time. And then when I was in San Antonio, I said like, I like coach when like they're hard on me. Like, when they're like, I mean, mad at me and other stuff, And they said, I mean, Popovich is not like that, Like... They said, and I said, yeah.
Were you surprised that you weren't a lottery pick?
Of course, yeah.
You were.
I thought
'Cause
I was going top 10,
Yeah,
and then it didn't happen.
it didn't happen.
No.
Not a bad draft class, by the way.
Yeah.
Some really good players that were drafted in front of you.
Yeah, for sure.
I find it interesting whenever this kind of comes up about dropping in the draft, because I think what makes you unique, what makes Wemby unique, what made Luka unique as a prospect was that you guys were playing essentially at the top level in Europe. And of course, Luka, EuroLeague MVP, right? The top level of Europe and actually producing. You were MVP of one of the best professional basketball leagues in the world as an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, the writing is on the wall. The writing is on the wall.
Yeah.
Do you carry any resentment for dropping in the draft? Do you care now? Does it still drive you?
I mean, what do you mean? Like when I was in...
Like, are you motivated by it? Or were you just happy to be drafted?
Of course, I'm happy to be drafted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, they tell me to don't go. And after my first year, I'm playing good in Turkey. They said, like, wait one more year playing EuroLeague and other things. But I said, no. Like, I want to go. Just improve myself, like, getting better over there. And, like, I mean, I was surprised, too. I didn't think I'm going to have, like, that great season over there, But that was the thing. When we go over there, in Turkey, in the Turkish league, you have, like, you can have a 5 American player, But we had like 3 and they didn't put anyone in front of me. So there was a like big chance for me. And I knew I need to use that chance. So I just did my best. And like we started the season so bad actually. Like we had like 30, 35 games, something like that. And we started like 6-0. And we were so young. And then after that point, we like literally didn't lose. Like maybe 5 more games all year, something like that. We didn't even lose.
So the other teams that you had played on, you'd played on, I think, a B-level team in Turkey.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then obviously the club teams growing up. Did you ever play on bad teams? Or was the Houston Rockets experience your first 2 years a little bit of a shock in terms of the losing?
Yeah, it was. I never like lost my life like that. Never.
How did you internalize that as a young player in the NBA? And I think obviously coming to a new country, new culture, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
How did you sort of internalize? Like, how did you deal with the losing? What was your mindset around
it was
going through an 82-game season? And you said, like, you felt like going into games, the group dynamic was, we're probably going to lose tonight.
For sure.
So how did you deal with that?
It was really hard for me. That part was really hard for me because in Europe, if you lose, like they're acting you like you fucking kill somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like you can love, you can like have fun, you can go out, like you can.
There's no music playing on the plane or the bus. Yeah.
No, never. Like you can't do that shit. Even like if you lose, like we were like so silent in the car, like we were like scared to talk each other, like because like if you lose in Europe, coaches like act like that end of the world. You know what I'm saying? But when I came here, that was so hard for me because I learned that way. I was like so sad all the time. Like, like I wasn't talking to anybody, I wasn't always in the bad mood. It was my rookie year. I was playing bad sometimes. I was like not talking to anybody. I was in the bad mood all the time. But after some point, I got to learn, we have game every 2 days. You can go, you can go to game that like that mood, After some point, I learned that, and like my coaches helped me a lot. About that. So after some point, I figured out, and just like, of course, you're getting sad if you're losing. But right now, like I can say, not first year, but this year more like if you're losing, I feel that European feelings again. If you're losing still right now, I'm really sad, because we're putting like work over there.
There's expectations.
Yeah, like, we're putting work over there. And like, if you're losing after all that works, of course, it's make you upset,
Did it feel chaotic to you? Do you know what I mean by chaotic?
I know.
Did it feel chaotic? Just the NBA, the culture around the Rockets, the losing.
Of course, you can talk. I couldn't talk in my first year. You don't know the people around you. Yeah, of course, all that things was coming to me. It was chaotic. But after some point, I'm not like that guy. Like, like I didn't grow up like asocial. You know what I'm saying? Like not talking to anybody, like shiny guy. I wasn't like that. So it was easy to figure out for me all that things.
Yeah. The additions of Fred and Jeff Green and Dillon, what has that done to the locker room? What has that done to just the mood and energy of the team, having vets around?
I mean, I can tell there was like Fred's. I mean, all of them is good for us. They're really good for us, but especially Fred. I'll be honest, like he can be like he was the like best we can get. I think. Like I mean, like
A perfect fit. Yeah.
perfect fit. Like he literally like help us a lot. He's like a brother, big brother. But when he's like time is come, he's like coach. Like he know all that things. He know how to talk. Like he can motivate. Like he can give you motivation. Good. He can do all that thing. He's like funny in the same time. If there's a time he gonna joke, he joke. And is this like time is serious? He's like we are serious. He like just feed us so good. Like he teach us so good. He lead us so good. Now we know how to finish the end of the game.
Right.
Because with him, he handled the ball. He can roll.
Get you in your right spot.
Yeah, he
you
make
know
the
you're going to create
shots.
good offense.
Yeah, he make the shot. If Big is out with him, he pass me. He just know all that things. And like I said, he beat us so perfect. Jeff is the same thing.
I am a huge Dillon Brooks fan.
Yeah,
I am.
Yeah.
I really am. I mean that. I am a huge Dillon Brooks fan. I like a little bit of crazy, and I'm willing for the trade-off. I would want Dillon Brooks on my team, and I feel like around the NBA he can be a very divisive, meaning people either really like him or they really don't like him.
Yeah.
Anything that has surprised you about Dillon as a teammate, a player, since he came to the Rockets?
Yeah, when you play against him, you think
You hate him.
Yeah, you hate him. You don't know anything about him though. You just like seeing him in the court, fucking scared of to going to pick on him. Because he's like trying to break your chest and like going go trying to inside of you. But when he's in your team, he just all want to do help you. He just want you to get better. Like he just want to help you on defense, like. And on offense, he like make the shots, play the right way. Like he helped us a lot. But I can say, that surprised me. He was like such that good dude.
Right.
Outside of court. You can hang out with him. Like you can talk to him. You can have fun with him. Like you can drink with him. Like you can do anything with him. Like he's open everything.
He seems like a fun guy to hang out with.
Yes.
He seemed like he'd be a fun guy.
And he want to come to Turkey next summer. It's so bad. He said, "Yeah, for sure, I'm gonna come for sure."
Y'all got to make that happen.
Yeah,
y'all got to
sure.
make that happen. And
he's just like
he needs to put all that shit on IG too.
Yeah,
we
for
need to
sure,
put all
for
that shit
sure.
on IG. I'm fascinated by your one-legged shot. Like fascinated by it. Why do you shoot the one-legged shot? Because your one-legged shot is a little different. And I know you use it in different ways. Dirk is a great example.
Yeah.
KD, right? Generally speaking, those guys are shooting one-legged shots in the post in order to fade away and create separation. KD will also shoot his little runner. Like he had one the other night against Portland in the fourth quarter from the elbow where the big was in a deep, deep drop and he just pulled up and shot a one-legged runner. You will catch the ball, face up, have space, and literally have no reason to shoot a one-legged shot, and you'll do it. And I'm fascinated by it.
I know. I'm literally like thinking about that one, like because I'm trying to shoot with normal, but like when you shoot normal and like I'm standing, I'm holding the ball like that, and just like going to shot, it's like little harder for me because like balance is different, and I feel like better that way. I'm like
you feel more balanced on one leg.
Yes. Like when I go to bag and like I can take in my side, that side, and like shoot it. But when I do normal shot, is always going short. I just can't figure out that like my power, But when I do a little fadeaway, I just can like can keep that balance.
Is this a new thing? How many like off seasons have you worked on this?
I mean, this all summer I just work on that shot. Like literally everywhere.
This summer.
Yeah. Literally.
This is a new thing.
Yeah. Like literally every position I was working on that shot. Like one leg shot. Everywhere.
Would you shoot a free throw that way? Would you shoot a three? Would you shoot a three that way?
I'm thinking for three, maybe. Yeah, you know,
like a Wemby one-legged three.
Yeah, maybe, but not the free throw. Yeah, I just feel more comfortable when I'm shooting like that.
It's a great answer, actually, and I'm still fascinated by it because you're the only person that would ever be more comfortable shooting off one leg and feel more balanced and feel more power.
Yeah.
The 3-point shot for you. You're not shooting a lot of them. I think you shoot around 2 a game right now. As you look at your career and your development and trying to get better, because you seem like a guy who's wired the right way.
Yeah.
How much of an emphasis do you envision for yourself in terms of putting in the work and being able to shoot 5 threes a game, 6 threes a game at a high clip? Like, is that important to you to be able to space?
I mean, I don't want to shoot 5, 6 threes in a game. Like, I think it's like, if I'm really good shooter, like Cat, you know, if I'm shooting like him, yeah, why not? But I mean, I know I can finish inside, you know, I know I can do that. Like spin moves and other things, I can do some stuff over there. Like I don't want to use my choice in 3 besides like 2, you know, because it's like, how I can say, more scoreable. I can score inside, you know. Even I'm really shooter, they're gonna help me a lot, of course, in my game. I can, because I'm attacking all the time, you know. I'm just wanna be dribble. But I'm saying like, I wanna like shoot 3 to 2, 3 to 3, 3 to 1. But I don't wanna shoot like 6 threes in a game. Like when I'm feeling good, you know, I can shoot that. But I don't wanna shoot every game like 6 threes, you know.
Can I give you a prediction?
Yeah.
My prediction is you're going to be right. And you're going to shoot 2 or 3 threes a game for like the next 5 to 8 years.
Yeah, for sure.
And then at some point, you're going to get tired of being on the inside. And you're going to spend a whole off season shooting threes. And then you're going to be like 32 years old and you're going to shoot like 8 threes a game.
Yes. That time, maybe. You're right. When I'm tired of going like all that physical shoulder things. Yeah. Maybe that's how I'm going to start shooting.
I randomly came across, and not because I was researching this, like legitimately randomly came across, it was either on YouTube or IG, the algorithm feeds me, because I talk about you occasionally, the algorithm feeds me your highlight tapes, and I came across a mixtape of you in Europe just fucking hammering on people's heads. It was great. And there was to me, like, you're really athletic, and I think oftentimes with NBA players, we talked about this a little bit with Anthony Simons, it's like we're all so athletic that you sort of lose the sense of athleticism unless there's like the outliers, right? The Anthony Edwards of the world that can just jump out of the gym, right?
Yeah.
Was there at all an adjustment? Because I feel like in Europe, you were sort of one of those guys, right? It was like, oh, he's an anomaly. He actually is more athletic than most everybody on the court.
Yeah.
And then coming to the NBA, how did that adjustment happen? Like, what was it difficult? Did you have to think more? How did it work?
I mean, I love to jump. When I was a kid, I was like, you know, I'm walking, like jumping some random
touching the ceiling, touching a frame.
I was always doing that, but I wasn't a like really good jumper. For example, I was never like can jump, stop. Yeah, like where I am, I can jump. Like, I don't know how I can say that.
Vertical.
Yeah, vertical. I can
you
jump,
need momentum.
Like, yes. Yeah, I need more momentum. Yeah. But I had like when I was 16, I had like some problem with my hamstring and it was coming to my knee. It was a really like huge time for me. I couldn't even like jump. I couldn't do anything, but I was still working, you know. I wasn't like injured and laid down every day, you know. And then one of our coaches actually who teach me the basketball, like all that footworks and other things, Ahmet Gürgen, he started doing some stuff. Like we did that like stance with the balls and other things. We did that like 2 months or something, 3 months. Actually, we did all year, but 2 months straight we did that. And then after we did that drill, it was like, I was feeling great. I was like, first time after we finished that drill, I was dunking. I was like jumping more. After some point, that when we were doing that drill, after finish it, I was like more like flexible or more like,
Athletic.
Yeah, more athletic. After that,
For 2 months.
I mean,
What's this guy's name?
Ahmet Gürgen.
See, I have a goal. I'm turning 40 in about 6 months, and I want to dunk. You think you can hook me up with him? I need to get on this program.
He will, but he was like,
I want to dunk on my 40th birthday. It's my
I mean,
goal.
like we couldn't even walk because our groins and other things. You know, you're doing like we were like dribbling, and at the same time we were like playing with the ball and how I can say.
You're gonna say you're playing with the ball in between your legs, but I know exactly what you're saying. You've got you're like engaging your core,
yes,
and there's a ball in between your legs that you're sort of you're flexing.
Yes.
You're growing. Yeah.
So we did that, and then after that, all that happens. My flexibility and I was like more athletic after that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You've gotten in a short amount of time a lot of love from your peers, some absolute legends in the NBA. KD has given you love. Paul George, who you were on his podcast, really enjoyed watching that. Compared your passing to Magic, Jokic, of course, Pau Gasol. Ant at one point said the Rockets need to build around him and not the other young players, which I also said. What does it mean to you at 21, be 22 this summer, at 21 years old, to already have sort of established yourself in the NBA, but also have the respect of guys like that?
It's like, of course, feeling great. Like, you know, after the games, you're going to talk to them. They coming to you. You know, that's like feel amazing. You know, Katie is coming to me. Like Joel is coming to me. Like, you know, they trying to teach me some stuff. You know, there's like you can forget these moments. You know, when hopefully like when I'm in their age, if I'm a good player, I'm gonna do the same thing. That's a good example for me. You know, and I believe how I feel right now when they do to me, I feel amazing. You know. Hopefully I do the same thing to other players, like other young cores, you know, when I'm like come their age.
What's the sort of most important, if you had to summarize your motivation as a basketball player? Do you know what I mean by that? Motivation.
Yeah, I know motivation.
Yeah. If you had to summarize what your own motivation is, for some people in the NBA, it could be just being in the NBA. For some people, I say this all the time. It's like guys enjoy what comes with being a professional basketball player, meaning money, fame, the opportunity to skip lines at nightclubs, right? They love that more than they love the game itself. And you seem like someone who has a real desire to get better and also has a really good sense of where you are right now as a player. So what is motivating you right now? Like what are the goals that you've kind of envisioned for yourself as a player?
Since I came to NBA, it was motivating me like my family. You know, I was always wanted to give them better life because I have like huge family. My brother, my sister, my niece, like my dad, my mom, you know, we are all together. We're so close to each other. And like I always wanted to give them better life, good life. And when I came here, you know, I had like all that good life, good house, good cars, you know. And like when I had all this stuff, I wanted them to see the same things, you know, like bring them here, like do whatever I do with them, you know. And now it's the same thing. I can still tell family, and I'm gonna make my own family and future. I don't know when, you know. And after some point, it's gonna be like my kids, you know, just make better life for them. I don't have like extra motivation, like go somewhere else, like buy this, you know. I have a simple life. I like house, you know, game room, playing over there all day, spend time with the girlfriend, spend time with the dogs, you know, spend time with the family. All I do this. Like I don't have like different things, like special things.
Right.
I don't want to like ride the Bugatti, I'm gonna say, but I can't even fit. So like I don't have like these big dreams, you know.
So in some ways for you, basketball has been a means to a better life.
Yeah.
It has been an avenue for you to get to a better life. You mentioned your family and I read that your parents wanted you to be a swimmer
Yeah.
and not a basketball player.
My dad was a fisherman, so he wanted me to like. I mean, he didn't want me to.
Where your dad was a fisherman, but he wanted you to be a swimmer, like an outdoor swimmer, or like a competitive swimmer.
You know what's happened? He was like trying to bring me somewhere. Like he wanted me to start something. And then he was bringing like soccer. He bring me soccer, he bring me basketball, he bring me swimming, you know. He was just testing me and what I want to do. And then when I went to swimming, there was a coach over there. When he saw me, I was told, you know, when he saw me, he said like, oh, like we have like huge dreams. Like, you know, we can make you like Olympic player. Like, you know, he was saying all that things. He had like big hopes about me. And now, but I already know how to swim, you know. I was like really good because my dad was like really good swimmer, you know. And I already know how to swim. And then when I went to swimming classes, it was just so boring, you know, like doing like bringing arms from here to over here. It was just boring, you know. And then I was doing the basketball at the same time too. And then I was watching my brother before I started all that things. And then I was like enjoying watching him when he was playing basketball, you know. And then I was doing like both of them at the same time, but after some point, I couldn't go to swimming anymore. Like I couldn't do it, you know. Just basketball was more fun for me.
What made it fun? What made you fall in love with the game of basketball?
I mean, I grew up in the street when I was a kid, you know, and you have like ambition, like you wanted to be best, you know. Like when I was in basketball, you know, you're fighting with 9 people on the court, you know. Like I mean, not 9 people, like.
With swimming, you're fighting against a time.
Yeah, you're like, bro, who you fighting with, you know? Like
I gotta beat my personal record. Yeah,
like you know, you're just fighting for yourself, you know. But in basketball, it's not like that. Like you know, you're fighting, like you're crying, like when you get mad, you know, you just wanted to win, and like you want to show you are the like best one, you're the good one, you know. And then like I was always like a fighter. Like I was like. When you grow up in street, you know, you have that feelings like you're gonna get it, like you're gonna fight for it, like you know. I had that feelings all the time, so that's why I picked basketball. It was like more funnable for me.
You felt like in basketball, because it was naturally competitive with other people, on the court in real time, you could see them. I assume in swimming, if you're competing, maybe you get a peek every now and then at one person in that lane and one person in that lane. Because it's the structure of the sport, you can walk away from a game and say, I was the best player on the court today.
Yeah.
And that's meaningful for you.
Yeah, for sure.
And now that you're in the NBA, when that happens, is that what gives you the joy?
I mean, when
that
we win,
feeling when you win.
Yeah. If you're losing, that doesn't mean anything. So
doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, just you gotta win. If you play good and you're losing, that doesn't mean anything. I'm not happy, you know. Like I can't even sleep. Like for example, Chicago game we lost. I mean, I had a like so bad first half, but like Fred was on me all game, like you know, and then like I knew I gotta do something. I can't play that bad, you know. And then I stopped playing aggressive. Attack. I did offensive run, all that things, you know. I play a good end of the game, but we lost. That doesn't mean anything. I come back late, so I feel like that was all my fault because I didn't start good the game, and you know, and then we got to come back and like win. If I was maybe playing better in the first half, it wasn't that bad game, you know.
Do the plays? You're talking about you couldn't sleep? Do the plays weigh on you? Do you run through all the plays where you feel like you fucked up?
Yeah, I talk to myself a lot, you know.
On the court or just like after?
When I'm going to sleep, you know. I'm saying how you did that, like how you can miss that shot. Like, you know, I'm talking to myself a lot. And like I can't sleep. Like even I'm taking the pills. Like, you know, I'm just all thinking all that.
To be clear here, he's talking about melatonin, sleeping pills. All right, those type of pills. All right, guys.
Yeah, of course. Please,
you got to be careful with these people out here, man. They'll get you. They'll get you. I think it's. We use the term on the podcast all the time. Certified basketball sicko, right?
Yeah.
You seem like a basketball sicko.
Yeah, I am.
And what makes a sicko ultimately is like. And correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm not describing you.
No.
But what makes a sicko is someone who wakes up with the motivation to compete, wakes up with the motivation to get better.
Yeah.
Someone who winning and losing, it matters to them, like deeply matters.
Yes, for sure.
That's a sicko. That's you.
Yes, that's me. Exactly me. This year I'm really bad at it because like Fred trying to help me, Jeff is trying to help me because like sometimes if I miss easy shot, that's really make me upset, you know. But Fred saying like, who give a fuck, you know? Everybody miss shot, but I mean, I'm saying everybody miss shot, but when I know I can finish this, but when I can finish it, that really make me like, you know, crazy about it in the game. I'm just trying to improve myself in that subject.
I have really enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah, me too.
I've learned a lot. I have
I'd like
learned
to
a
meet
lot. I've
you,
learned a
brother.
lot about you, and I've learned a lot about Fred and Dillon. This is two guys that I absolutely adore.
My God.
So I appreciate you doing this. This has been fun, man.
Of course, thank you, brother.
Thank you. Ever find yourself stuck in a cycle of breakouts, desperately seeking a fix for oily skin that won't leave your face feeling dry? Especially in January when New Year, New Me vibes are in the air, we all want to put our best face forward. That's where Lumen Skin and its charcoal face wash come to the rescue. Lumen's charcoal face wash is a purifying wash designed for men of all skin types. It lathers to a creamy foam and gently removes excess oil and dirt in order to rebalance the skin. And the best part, Lumen will let listeners of Old Man and the Three podcast try this product for free. Yes, you heard that right. You can try Lumen's charcoal face wash for free. Head over to lumenskin.com/V3 and get your free trial of Lumen's charcoal face wash. That's LUMIN skin.com/THE3/V3 for a free trial of Lumen's charcoal face wash. Plus, try their other amazing products. Say goodbye to irritated, oily skin and say hello to a new, refreshed you. Don't wait any longer. Your skin will thank you. Let's get to our check-in with new Old Man and the Three correspondent, Trey Murphy. Can we get Trey a fucking mic, by the way, if he's going to do this more than once? Trey, first of all, why did you decide to be an Old Man and the Three correspondent? Like, what's going through your brain when you made that decision to say yes to Tommy?
I mean, I think, just trying to pursue this whole podcast career, I guess.
It is good to see you. You had one of my favorite guest appearances on the Old Man and Three last season, and haven't had a chance to really catch up with you. But you had surgery in the off season. You didn't play your first game till December 4th. I'm just curious for you going through a non-normal off season, having to rehab, not having a preseason training camp, all of that stuff, and then joining a team who'd already played 15, 16 games. What was that like for you personally, for the team, trying to meld yourself back in?
It was tough. I mean, obviously, I wasn't in the same rhythm as the other guys when I first came back, and they had already had a little groove going. That's when they started picking it up towards like the end of my rehab, and so trying to just insert myself in different ways into the offense, as well as just trying to be a good teammate, help our team win. It was a big thing for me, and it was definitely really tough those first few games, just watching. And we had a lot of injuries at the beginning of the year, and so we were really struggling to score. And I just was like, dang, I know if I was out there, I could definitely put up some points, help our team win. But it definitely made me a lot more hungry going out there. Injuries definitely do that to you. They make you really appreciate the time you have out there.
But so you're conscious of the fact, as you're starting to play again, you're conscious of the fact that you are trying to essentially fit in and figure out your place on this team, because you can. I've said this so many times. You can have the same group year to year in the NBA, but every team is its own little organism that behaves and functions differently, even if you bring the same group back. So you were conscious of that coming back, 15, 16 games in.
No, absolutely. And we had the same group as last year, but like we are a lot more healthy at the moment. I'm gonna knock on wood as I say that. But so now it's actually really a different team coming into it. And, we have a lot of guys on our team. Like we're probably one of the deeper teams in the NBA. And so just trying to find my way and my niche in that is also, something I'm still trying to figure out as well, because, we got a lot of guys that are very talented on this team, and so I'm not trying to go outside of my role in order to hurt the team.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up because there are a lot of guys, and I've spoken glowingly about the Pelicans roster construction and the versatility you guys have in terms of trotting out different lineups. You can go all shooting lineup, you can go a defensive lineup, a big lineup, a small lineup, a switching lineup. It seems like you have a lot of that. And one of the observations I had prior to Zion's injury last year, because he hadn't played the prior season with CJ, it was like the hierarchy of those three trying to figure it out. Obviously, your emergence as well on the offensive end. And Zion had some comments earlier in the season about like trying to fit in and trying to figure out his place. How would you sort of assess where that hierarchy is right now as BI has grown as a playmaker, CJ having arguably his most efficient season, shooting 45% from three? Like, where does that stand with those three?
Yeah, and like obviously at the beginning of the year it was a little tougher because that was like the first time they really got a chance to really play together other outside of practice. And as the season progressed, you start to mold it a little bit, figure out what we want to do with the offense. CJ has definitely taken a step back off like on the ball and just let Bi and Z really do their thing. Like he's initiated the offense, but for the most part, he's been off ball, and you can see with his efficiency, like it's been through the roof. He's really been shooting the ball really well, and so then the relationship between Bi and Z has been, work together. We're figuring out different ways to get both of them involved. And because they have very similar-ish play styles because they are two heavy, mid-range and rim guys. And so just trying to figure out ways to definitely get them going and also get their gravity to help the other guys out there on the court.
When I talk about just that lineup versatility and the roster, has there been any moments this season or a specific game where you guys have adjusted and trotted out a lineup that maybe was a little unconventional to what you normally do, and you're like, holy shit, this team has something that a lot of other teams don't have?
If I want to point to a specific moment, probably one of the moments that I realized it was Golden State game when it was me, Hawk, Zion, Larry, and I want to say Dyson out there. And we had just a lot of versatility out there. Like we could switch 1 through 5. And then you had Z just point guarding everything. Larry also point guarding, like secondary point guarding. And then me and Hawk just out there just shooting the ball, like running around screens and stuff like that. And it was really beautiful to watch. I remember we ran one play for like 8 straight possessions and we got a bucket or a foul on it like 8 each time. And it was just like, this is a really good lineup that we got right here. And it's a lot of versatility.
That was the game you guys won. I think it was 141 to 105.
Yeah, that was the game.
Yeah. I mean, if we look back and it doesn't turn out well for the Warriors this season, we will say that was the game that broke them. Like I was calling a game that night and Steve Kerr had some comments. Like, I mean, it was shocking. It was like, we have no belief. We have no spirit. We have no confidence. And they were one of the teams in this like Western Conference when we started the season. There's 12 really good teams. Obviously, Houston's been good. Utah's picked it up late. Memphis without Ja and then him getting injured and Desmond Bane now getting injured. They're not one of those 12 teams. You guys are sitting in 5th place, 4 games back of home court in the first round. We're halfway through the year. As you sort of assess personally, like where this team is at, and then internally with your guys, like where do you think the ceiling of this Pelicans team is?
I really think we can win a championship. And the reason why I say that is because in the playoffs, there's a lot of versatility and different lineups that you have to play based on the team that you're facing. And I feel like we can match up with any team just based off that amount of guys that we have. We can throw in a bunch of different lineups that can match physicality, can match shooting, can match switching, all that different type of stuff. So I think once we get to the playoffs, well, we gotta continue to play like at the same level that we're playing right now. We're able to match up with any team and figure out, all right, how are we gonna attack this? And we could do that by just putting out a lineup of 5 guys that's different from what we've seen during the regular season. But, it might work in the playoffs.
Yeah, I want to ask specifically about that matchup question. And I don't want you to shit on a team by saying, oh, we're a really good matchup against this team. But is there a particular team in the Western Conference you look at and you say, oh, that's a tough matchup for us?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's definitely tough matchups. Like Denver is always going to be a tough matchup for anybody because Jokic is arguably one of the one or two best players in the entire world. So obviously they're going to be a tough matchup anytime we play against anybody they play against. The Clippers right now with the way that they're playing, like they're always a tough matchup because of their ability to switch and then their ability to score the ball like at a really, really high level. And they got James out there point guarding, facilitating. And Kawhi and PG have really just taken a step back on the ball and just said, we're just going to let James handle it. And so once you get James in the pick and roll and he's in the pocket pass, and now the X man is choosing between Kawhi Leonard or Paul George, and it's just like it's not really a good answer to either one of those. So I definitely think the Clippers are a tough matchup for sure.
Yeah, I don't want to get this stat wrong, but I believe off the top of my head, they're 20-4 or 21-4 in their last 24 or 25 games, and the number one offense, just doing it really efficiently. James orchestrating Kawhi, having as efficient of a season as he's had in his career. Defensively for you guys, I've been really impressed with Dyson. Obviously, I've given a ton of love to Herb Jones. What do you see from those two guys specifically night to night in terms of their disruption and their ability to match up with some of the bigger offensive wing players in the NBA?
Yeah, no, it's special. I said that about Dyson his rookie year early on. He was 19 years old guarding Luka Doncic and just like giving him a hard time. And it's like, you don't see that, especially at 19. Like if you had told me at 19, I got to go guard Luka Doncic, he probably would have had 70 points. So like, I just look at him and I just say he's well beyond his years. Just JJ, don't even say anything, please. Don't interrupt me on this one. Anyway, Dyson is just well beyond his years.
You got a lot of confidence on the defensive end. Huh?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So they're definitely just very advanced, and also like they just give a lot of effort, and their instincts are very high. Like there's a stretch of plays last night. Herb stunk down, got a block on John Collins, saved the ball from going out of bounds, tapped it over to Bi. Bi gets a layup in transition. Utah gets it out quick. They kick it up the court. Herb steals the pass, throws it back in bounds, comes back into the play, gets the fast break opportunity and dumps it off to Zion, and he gets a dunk. And it's just like plays like that just light up an entire team. And after that play, I think we ended up going on like a 24-8 run. So it's just like stuff like that happens, and you just praise Herb Jones because of what he does, and he does it on a nightly basis.
Okay, bear with me for a second. Okay, because I don't know if this is a take, but as you're talking about this and as I'm thinking about Dyson and Herb Jones, I'm thinking about what makes a great perimeter defender in today's NBA. Because I feel like we are past the point of this idea of like a stopper or like this guy can lock up a guy. And certainly there are nights where the great defenders in our league will hold a Kawhi Leonard as as their primary defender to a 4 for 12 night. Like that happens. But by and large, with the spacing and the shooting and the skill level, it's really hard to do that. And so the question is what makes a great perimeter defender in today's NBA? And I want you to add to this if I'm missing anything. To me, it's certainly the ability to guard multiple positions. And it's not always 1 through 5, but just the ability to guard multiple positions and be able to guard multiple matchups. I think about the ability to disrupt multiple actions on the same possession. That to me is Alex Caruso. That to me is Herb Jones. That to me is Dyson Daniels. There's a great clip from the other night, the Denver-Boston game, where Derek White is guarding Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. has a sliver of space to get a 3 off. Derek White closes, he shot fakes, he does a sidestep dribble to get behind the line. Derek White closes again, he gets off the ball, then he tries post him up. He's in the middle of the paint underneath the basket. As soon as he catches the ball, Derek White pokes it out, right? That to me is like Caruso. That to me is Herb Jones. That ultimately is like what makes a great perimeter defender. Most valuable big guys, right? They're going to play drop coverage, they're going to protect the rim, and they're going to rebound. The perimeter defenders are tasked with making multiple efforts on every single half court possession, it seems like.
No, absolutely. And as well as, like, you'll see the great defenders when you play a great offensive team and they just get him off the ball. They just send him to the corner. They're like, yeah, we're just going to make sure you're out of the play and put you as low man or X man, something else. Because, when you have them on the ball and they're so disruptive, you're just like, yeah, we're just not going to get a good possession out of it. So I think his instincts as well as just like smarts, like Herb Jones is super smart when it comes to defense. Like there was a play against the Knicks. He was guarding somebody. They drove baseline, pitched it back to somebody else. And when they pitched it back to somebody else, I think somebody got clipped on our team. Herb cuts off the guy that was driving middle. They pass it down to the sink man. Herb sunk down to get that man to block the shot. And it's just multiple efforts. And it's just like, you don't see that with many people in the NBA. Like, it's just insane.
I was a 1 or 2 effort guy on the defensive end. I kind of shut it off at multiple though. After that,
after 2, it's like I did my job.
The other thing I was thinking about, and it goes back a little bit to that Warriors game, but also like you guys just put 153 points on the Jazz, who have been playing well, and I would say this is sort of the doldrums of the regular season, right? Post January, pre All-Star break. Everybody's name is in fucking trade rumors until February 8th. Like, this is the toughest time to me of the regular season. And I think that difficulty for the individual and the team is sometimes manifested on the court in the mood and the energy of a team. I'm curious if you have felt that playing against certain opponents over the last few weeks. I don't even mean specifically, but have you sensed that, like, in this last month where you're starting to figure out which teams are super together and which teams are not?
Absolutely. No, you definitely see it. I'm trying to word this so I'm not really attacking any teams right now, because I definitely don't want to do that.
I'll attack a team. I'll attack a team.
You can do that.
Somebody said
Trey Murphy is not doing that.
The other day, they were like, oh yeah, we just played the Hornets, and the Hornets have worse vibes than the Pistons. I was surprised by that. Somebody said that to me. There's a team.
Somebody that was not Trey. We just played the Hornets, and Trey did not say that. Let me make sure we get that on the record. But no, you definitely see it. And one way that I'll see it is based off substitution patterns. I think that's the biggest one. Like, you'll see a lot of guys getting in earlier than they normally do. That's one thing. So it's like, all right, are they trying to boost trade value, or are they trying to throw in something different, like, to the lineup? There's a lot of times guys are getting hot and like they'll take them out of the game and sit them for a while. And it's just like, there's a game within the game that I'm looking at. And it's not like I'm like just trying to figure out, all right, what is this team doing? But like, you just notice, and it's like, oh, that's like a little off on why would they, put him in this early, or why would they take this guy out and he was just hooping. So I think that's one of the bigger things. And also just communication between the teams. Like, you can just tell, like, guys getting snappy with each other. It's getting to that time of the year where, teams might be getting a little tired of their teammates.
Oh, interesting. I will say this. I think we in the media, and certainly we, i.e. anyone who participates in NBA Twitter or pays attention to NBA Twitter, I think it's very natural to have overreactions after a game or two. A great example of that is like James Harden goes to the Clippers and they struggle coming out of the gate, and everybody's piling on, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. And it clearly works, right? These things all take time. The other thing I think that happens more so now is, like, we do see these fucked up scores because teams are taking 40 or 45 or sometimes even close to 53s in a game. And if one team goes 8 for 35 and another team goes 19 for 42, like, the wonkiness of the 3-point shot, I think affects, I think it blurs our judgment sometimes of teams, where I think the shot variance and the 3-point luck certainly plays a factor in all of this. It's funny you talk about the substitution patterns, because I'm such a big body language guy. And that was something when I played that I was very cognizant of against my opponent. And simultaneously, I was also very cognizant of it with my own team. Like, where are we at? Where is our energy at? How would you say, like, the Pelicans' energy right now? how is it like, because energy shifts, right? It flows. I was at the semifinals of the in-season tournament. Like your energy, you guys sucked that night, right? It sucked. And you've had some really good, but you've had some really good stretches since then. So where are you guys sort of right now in that energy flow?
So I think what that stems from is us just being a really competitive team. And so like when we lose games, obviously we're not happy about that. So I think that's what might shift the energy. But overall, this is one of the best locker rooms I've ever been a part of. Like I feel like it's a college locker room. Like after practice, we're literally in the locker room debating, arguing, talking. Like
you're having a first take session.
Say one more time.
You're having a first take session in the locker room.
Yeah, we're a little more civil than y'all. We actually say some good quality stuff in there, unlike what y'all are talking about. But no, it's been good though. Like I really love this team. Like these guys were all really bonded together. Everybody loves everybody. Like I've said that many times. Semi-pro reference right there. But yeah, we have no problems on this team at all. Everybody's been cool.
Before I let you go, I am curious about your sort of own personal growth. And I know you're a very thoughtful guy, very competitive, you take pride in what you do. And I know, having the surgery and everything and starting the season late is frustrating. And maybe this isn't the right time or the right question to ask you. But in terms of your own personal growth this season, like where do you feel like you're getting better?
So right now, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I'm going through a little bit of a shooting slump, which, happens. But, a lot of it, I'm looking at it and it's just like, all right, is it mechanical? Is it mental? Is it just, some of these shots are hitting back rim, going in and out. And, you got to live with some of those. But, once I'm honest with myself and I tell myself, all right, like I'm going through something, I can't just try to push it under the rug, then that's when I find myself coming into my own. So I think my biggest strides have been, being more cognizant of the game and what the team needs at the moment. Like coming down, like my shot selection can vary sometimes. So there's a lot of times where I might shotgun. I'm really hunting shots because I know our team really wants to take 43s, and I feel like I'm one of the best shooters on the team. So I feel like I have a good chance for it to go in. And I think just different shot variety has been my biggest thing this year. Like last year, a lot of it was really catch and shoot. Now there's more like hidden handbags, shake-ups. Me and Z have been getting into two-man action. I watched a lot of JJ and Z film. So I've
how's your inverted pick and roll right now?
Oh, I'm flipping them screens. I'm flipping them screens. I don't know what to do. It's nice, man. He just draws so much attention, so I get a lot of open looks from that too. So I definitely say the shot variation would be the biggest improvement.
I love it. Well, Trey, I know you're going to be popping in to the show from time to time. We appreciate you doing this. Always good catching up. Go Duke.
What?